Alright, just gonna make sure. Oh. Test. Test, 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 test.
Disconnected. Pairing.
Hello. Wait, got me. Alright, just gonna make sure. Sweet. It's working.
Pairing mode. To pair, search for the Vizio soundbar.
Alright. Where is... We gotta shrink this. Alright, this needs to be fixed. There we go. Refresh. How do I view my 1 second people? One second. It's delayed by like 10 seconds. It's crazy. Is this already? Warning the stream. Open Studio. How do I change the bit rate? All right. Maybe it's fixed now. How do I edit the bit rate? Is that in here? Whatever. We're just gonna have to figure that out as we go. All right, whatever. I'm just gonna start just to get this through with so we can try it out. Well, welcome whoever tunes in, because this is the first stream, so no one will probably tune in, but whatever. We're just gonna get through this. So this is what I'm gonna start doing in the mornings. I'm gonna start posting my game plan and just go through my trading game plan as I create it. If there's news that before the news embargo at 8:30, I'll try to get it going before then, obviously, because that's that's a big deal, the news. So anyways, there's no news today until 8, so we're just gonna do it now. All right, so we've already done an analysis yesterday and Sunday on the macro. If we look at the daily here, doesn't look too good, but at the same time we had an immediate buyback on this dip down. Oh, interesting. Wonder, I don't actually normally use these weird charts, but yeah, there was no displacement except if you go to the 4 hour, which there is. Clear displacement to the downside. Flow on Friday was net bearish, even though we had Nvidia skewing the market tide. Nvidia and the other tech stocks. So that kind of threw things off, but I think we are still leaning with a short bias because of that. One thing to note too, though, is the NASDAQ just doesn't give a F about anything. So NASDAQ, I think, was really bullish. I should have seen this as a clear get-in spot and could have used this as a risk area. So you could have gone in here at these equal lows if you were to trade this, possibly. Below these equal lows, just targeting some sort of range below that and using this as a stop. So could have went long here, like that, and ideally you would have gone in a pretty good entry below these lows and been able to get 3R, which is what I target. So live chat, dude, this thing is broken. So yeah, anyways, I think NASDAQ has a reason now to go down now that it's taken out this swing, in this intermediate swing. Doesn't need to, but I think we do have a good argument. I want to see the flow open up and see what happens at the open. This is the Dow Jones. So we want to see, you know, what are these? Maybe these were an error. But we want to see this open up and obviously get some. I have some filters for 0 DTEs and 1D. I think I also have 2 days to expiration. Maybe I'll get rid of that right now. So maximum of 1 day to expiration. And then, yeah, we'll see what happens at the open with that. We'll use that as a confirming idea, though. We got the Dow Jones, much more bearish than the other 2. This one is the most obvious, and that's because we completely confirmed the move down here with the fair value gap below that and these lows. So it's super bearish. So I think that honestly might be the play, but we still want to see what happens in the others. I think those will offer a higher risk reward, whereas this could slow grind its way as it's kind of been doing. It just barely keeps tinkering down. So I don't like trading it unless there's a retracement that's into a discount, because I usually like to risk these, higher time frame candles for swing trades. Oops. So if you look at all three of these on the 4 hour, Dow Jones, clear displacement, and then the ES still holding bearishly on the 4, and none of these candles are, these aren't confirming further upside in my opinion. So I think it's likely that this is the top here. And we'll see if the flow can confirm that. One thing to watch for me is going to be this 4 hour fair value gap, because this is above the swing high. Man. It's above the swing high on the 1 hour, the smaller time frames. And that's a really nice setup, is when I can get 2 PD arrays, a swing and a gap, as a key area of interest. NASDAQ has already touched it though, twice. Nothing confirmed yet. So things aren't super clear in what I'm seeing. So I think I do want to see some confirmation with either a move up into here for the ES and bearish flow on the net premiums, and at the same time maybe some sort of SMT divergence. I think I want to see the NASDAQ confirm what I'm seeing in the ES short, if I'm going to go short. Otherwise, if we come down here into this gap, NASDAQ is still bullish on the higher time frame. So this fair value gap here is the other area I'd be watching. And that's because it's the 4 hour, which is like the highest small time frame. That's kind of how I see it. Get some coffee here. So, yeah, I mean, I've been watching this pattern play out here on the ES. Let's take off the magnet. This is obvious range with accumulation, and then a manipulation here, and a distribution. But then at the same time, you could see this as accumulation, manipulation, and then possible distribution again. Thing is, if you look at the Dow, so the Dow is just done. It looks like it's headed down. And even if it retraces, I'd expect it to be sold. All this should be faded, in my opinion. So if I see ES, the plan is, I think for me, is to, if ES comes up with the NASDAQ, we want to see how the NASDAQ and the ES work together or diverge from each other today. And then we'll go from there. We'll use SMT, we'll use key levels, the fair value gap as the key level. Or if we get a displacement leg here to confirm something On the smaller time frames, we can look here that this was Friday's end of day range. We've obviously came up to sweep out everybody that's been in there on Monday's half day session, and then we've just been ranging again, and then London swept. Today's London session has deleted the liquidity again. So to me, this all makes sense from a bearish standpoint, especially with this sharp move down. The problem with this move down, though, is I don't like how it just still in the range. We need to see something bigger, like on the 4 hour. We need to see this get crushed with a huge displacement candle and a fair value gap like we've already seen again. So we're waiting for that, or the previous idea still. Here's this week's new week opening gap. This is last week's new week opening gap. It's been loving this area. As you can see, it's working it out. NASDAQ, let's look at the smaller time frame here. Same thing. We had equal highs here on the NASDAQ, so this makes a lot of sense here. And then usually, if we don't get a deep enough move, there's always a second hit here. So things are still looking good for short. We just want to see some more confirmation, or another leg up. One thing that can make sense to me is while the ES clears out this high into that 4 hour gap, if the NASDAQ, if the NASDAQ at the same time, it would make sense for the NASDAQ to either come and break this high, or it'd be very interesting if NASDAQ ES came up here while NASDAQ created like a SMT, like a lower high, while ES made a higher high. So that'll be one thing. That'll be the thing I think I really am looking for, is a divergence in tech and the S&P. So other than that, I've already done analysis here on the DXY on Sunday, which obviously I didn't stream because it's all new here. But you can see, well, let's go to the weekly. Weekly looks bearish. We do have these equal highs, relative equal highs. Came into this order block, whichever one you want to use. I like this one because the candle body's higher, highest close. If you go to the daily, oh, it was a daily order block. So yeah, here's the order block. Daily doesn't look good for the dollar. Clear move down, we come into the fair value gap, and we're just grinding lower. Nothing really to know other than that we're going down, and we're still creating displacements, especially here. So expecting this to come and sweep this before the next logical order. So yeah, that's interesting. The DXY is coming down. Volatility, this kind of looks like it's kind of bottomed out. Interesting. Russell, I feel the Russell could be interesting to watch too. I haven't done analysis at all on the Russell. But check this out. So this is a obvious accumulation, manipulation, and then now we're looking like we're distributing. So, or at least we're headed to a distribution. If you look at this move here, fails, but at the same time it sweeps liquidity, sells off, but does not create any market structure shift, super weak, gets bought, and big strong push off the bottom. Looks great. Honestly, that was a trade looking type of a setup there. That's what we want to see. So I'm expecting Russell to head higher. Oops. So with the dollar getting crushed, it would make a lot of sense for me to see the Russell be the mover. We've been stuck in a range here for so long. We're finally getting out of it after failing initially, but now we've accumulated here, and I think we're ready to, like, you could call this an accumulation manipulation, and now we are distributing. So if you look on higher time frame for some logical PD arrays, there's obviously, here's the massive order block. Even on the monthly, let's look. Not super clear. Weekly, we've got this order block here. I like to use all of the candles because they're all one move. Weekly OB. That's freaking huge text. Then we have the rally prior to capitulation. This got rebalanced, but there is a fair value gap in there. You can see that. And here's another order block. So I think this is two logical targets. It knows where I'm gonna put that. That's kind of funny. I didn't even have it right, and it still, the magnet got it for me. So honestly, plays for the longs might be here in the Russell. Let's look at a smaller. Let's look at 4 hour first, just to confirm what we're looking for. So clear move down, fails, holds. It's what we're seeing on the other indices, but this is much stronger, and it actually has a reason to head higher on the chart, I think, based on the chart on the PA. So if we can get something on the smaller time frame that looks clean, honestly, this would be a decent setup. This is a possible reversal area, but looks like we held here, so could have went long there, possibly. Not financial trade advice at all. This is purely my own ideas for me. But if you look here, look how much behind it is, these guys. So these guys swept yesterday's London highs. This was weaker. Looks like it was accumulating, and now we're getting a move up. So first logical target is, what is this? Last week's open? Yeah, last week's open. So here's last week's open, right above equal highs. In a fair value gap. Wow, that looks clean. Super clean. Nice target there. Other than that, though, this could go. We're expecting higher targets here, so that'd be the swing high. Obviously, every high is a liquidity area. I'd actually expect this to move pretty fast if DXY keeps pushing down, which seems like it is. All right, so I always write down my game plans. So here's my trade checklist, just to cut me out if I'm not prepared to trade today. Reasons to not trade. Did I write my goals? Yes. Did you? I did not sleep long enough last night, but I'm awake enough. And I already have a plan, so I think that's good enough. I'll remain cautious due to that. If I can spell. How do you spell cautious? Whatever. As of pre-market, yes. Yes. See confirmation. All right. So I'll just put this to the side. I'm just gonna take you guys through what let me just actually show you. So here's everything I look at. I'm just gonna fill that out, and I'll just verbalize it. So, news and catalysts today. We have news at 8 o'clock, my time, Mountain Standard Time. And that is, I forgot what it was. What was it? Consumer confidence. So we have consumer confidence today. That's where we should expect a move here. So if we get SMT into the fair value gap on that ES chart, I don't know why this moved. Yeah, if we get SMT divergence, net bearish flows, boom, right into the manipulation, which is what happens with the news. That's what they use the news as. Smart money, big money players, they use that to manufacture liquidity moves. So what we want to see is time align with the price action analysis. So we'll be watching what happens specifically during that window. My DXY bias is bearish for the next swing low. Midnight Asian sessions have cleaned out sell side liquidity, or shorts, whatever you want to call it. News embargo, nothing. We didn't have any news embargo. New York Open price action. We open in 4 minutes, so we don't know that yet. Daily and weekly bias. Possible rebalancing on the Dow, and liquidity sweeps on the others to the upside, but for a possible downside move. And that's just because of the flow we saw on Friday and the movement we have in the Dow, which is gonna lead us. Whereas NASDAQ can, pump higher because of the tech, NVIDIA hype and stuff like that. So that can remain bullish for longer. So what else? Where's the draw on liquidity? That's interesting. That's one of the best questions I have on here for myself. So, best logical reason or liquidity for me is at the swing highs on NASDAQ, and for ES, 4 hour with SMT or swing highs slash continuation lower from Thursday. I think those are the logical things to happen. So one thing that could happen is NASDAQ manipulates lower on the news. I'm gonna say this because this is what I need to say to be clear. I think this news will be a manipulation. Sometimes I've seen the news be distribution. So we've already accumulated, looks like we're chopping up upwards while we're chopping downwards on the Dow. And I'm expecting this to be a manipulation news leg. So should be faded, in my opinion. Fade the news. So that's what my next question is. Where do we expect it to manipulate or accumulate? I'm expecting, if I can spell, news to be used. Excuse me. Man, I need to get good at muting myself for that. Where are we expected to manipulate or accumulate? Expecting news to be used for manipulation into either upside liquidity for downside or downside upside on NQ. Where will we distribute? So yeah, with SMT downside, without into NASDAQ fair value gap upside, combo with flow. So trade plans exactly manipulation. So unless I see something very clear, I'm not going to be trading, by the way. So all right, I think we're open now. Market's open. Let's go to the 5 minute now that we're open. Dow Jones selling off. Just continuing. Wow, strong move down. Indices don't care. We got the flow now loading. Looks like right out the gates, call volumes are high. Wow, puts are on top though. But we're at the open. This isn't clear. Dow Jones heading lower. The problem with the Dow Jones heading lower is that if we're going to reject in the ES and the Dow or in the NASDAQ, there could be a bounce in the Dow, which would keep the S&P stronger while the NASDAQ sells off. So just got to be aware of how this all is intercorrelated. I really like to use and rely on SMT a lot for confirmation. So if the Dow Jones just keeps dumping while the ES sits flat and then the NASDAQ rejects, it would be a better play for me to fade the NASDAQ because the tailwind, the headwind on the ES would be the bounce in the Dow, even though it would probably move down. I just think we gotta play the extremes. You either short weakness or you buy strength. So, as you can see, look at this. See, even the S&P still holding up versus the Dow or the Nasdaq. So that might have been the setup here into this order block for a value gap situation. As we got that move this morning, kept sweeping the. To me, that's just a price action signature. You see Friday high, accumulation, boom, taken out, but not in a exciting trend move. It's just a take out liquidity move, boom, and then the same thing. Next day, Tuesday, takes out yesterday's liquidity, boom. So still looks bearish to me. We want to see this create some sort of clarity though. So I think we've gone over my plans. This is my first stream. Had a few hiccups here with setting it up, but that was the whole point, was just to figure this out. We've gone over my game plan, what I'm watching for. I think there are other things to look at outside of the indices. I mean, check out oil. Oil's starting to make a move. And if you look at the commodity index, it's really confirming that we might see some upside in the oil. It's funny because I almost longed, this was my long idea on the CAD. Obviously it didn't hit my target, but that's why I didn't trade it, because I didn't think it would hit it. But I mean, if you look at that, that's the minimum trade. Would have been able to scale out into these equal highs here without risking the high. So interesting. So yeah, I think that's it for today. I think we went over my day trading plan. I am also a swing trader, so I'll be covering my write-ups as usual on here now, as I've talked about in other videos. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. See you tomorrow. When I say guys, I mean the one person that's watching this.